And if my life changes because of that, then so be it. But the American people need to know what they're dealing with. If I had the chance to talk to Donald Trump, I would run the other way. I'm scared of him like I've never been scared of anything else in my entire life. I can't explain it to you, but the fear of him even being in a next room, I have a panic attack. The last encounter that I had with Donald Trump, Tiffany approached me about a rape scene that was supposed to be played out, and I didn't like the sound of that at all. But Tiffany assured me that it wasn't going to be, if it was anything I wasn't comfortable with, we could stop. That she would be right there, and that it wouldn't get out of hand, and that it was a fantasy, like it wasn't really going to happen. And so I told her that I would. She basically, Tiffany was always nice to me. It wasn't that I trusted her, else and I wouldn't always trusted her or done what she asked me to. But she was there, and he came in, and I was basically tied to a bed with pantyhose, and he tied him. They were so tight, it hurt to even lay there. And I tried to say something. And it was like, he just, shut up, shut up, bitch. It was basically like he was being really, really rough. And I understand. It just didn't seem like a fantasy. And I started to get scared, and he was, basically ripping my clothes off, and I was actually I got freaked out. I told him that I didn't want to do this. I screamed over for Tiffany. She was like, Mr. Trump, she's only, this is scaring her. And he's like, oh, you shut up too. He just turned into this animal. It was like a completely different person. It was like everyone in the room was scared of him, and I was, it was like I couldn't do anything about it. And he ripped off all my clothes, and he started to basically have sex with me, and I was screaming because I'd never had sex before. It was my first time, and Tiffany was yelling at him too. She was saying that I was a virgin, and he told us to just shut the fuck up, and just basically took my virginity while I was crying and telling him to stop. And that's basically begging for him to just stop. And Tiffany didn't know what else to do either. No one was there to help us, or me. And so after the fact, he basically finishes it. It didn't take that long at all. But it felt like it was like 5.5 hours. It felt like it was an eternity. I don't even know how long it was, but he was done, and I was crying, and Tiffany was consulting me, and she was, apologizing. She told me that she just never put me in that situation again. But he comes over mad because I was crying, and he said that I should be thankful that someone like Donald Trump took my virginity. He basically didn't say took my virginity. He said I should be glad that someone like Donald Trump popped my cherry, and not some pimply little 14-year-old. And I just was like, what if I said, what if I get pregnant? Not even talking to him. I didn't want to talk to him. I was talking to Tiffany. And he said, well, you'll get an abortion then, bitch. And then just walked away. And I told Tiffany I needed to go home. I never went back again. I guess it's for you to decide, you know. I mean, if I don't have any kids myself, because I'm afraid to have kids, because I mean, who knows what kind of damage they can get into. But if you have a 13-year-old daughter and I mean, would you be okay with the person who's running our country doing that to your little girl? And I don't know. I just want people to know. I think that I have a faith in our society that we'll make the right choice. He seemed to be taking great pleasure in like dominance and control, and just the more I screamed, the more I got scared, the more he was enraged and like enraged with power, and it was like he was just charged with it. It was scary. My experience with Donald Trump has made it to where I can't be in a healthy relationship, much less I can't be in a relationship without myself sabotaging it. I don't do well. I mean, I've been in a couple of relationships. I mean, they're never of interest to me normally, but one in particular that was he was a wonderful man, and I completely, knowing I had like subconsciously, I couldn't even control myself. It was like I had to get him out of my life because, you know, I don't know why. It was like anytime anyone loves me, I don't feel worth it, or, you know, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I can't. Friends, I can have acquaintances guys that are acquaintances, but I just, you know, anytime it's maybe someone expressed anything else besides that, I can't. I take some type of pleasure, I don't take pleasure in it, but subconsciously, whether I mean to or not, sometimes I've meant to. It's like I've purposely hurt their feelings just so they'll never talk to me again. Like, I make sure that it's not ever a possibility. Donald Trump destroyed my feeling of self-worth and my self-esteem when it was still growing, like when it just bloomed. It hadn't even had a chance to experience anything. I have only spoken to one therapist about this just recently, actually. For a long time, I really tried to forget about it. Just tried very hard. But I've been to counseling for other things, and I went to counseling for the previous relationship that I was sabotaging, and my counselor said, something has happened to you where you need to deal with that. That's actually what kind of was like, He knew that there was something that had happened where I was sabotaging these relationships, but, you know, he said that it was my responsibility to deal with it, of course. This situation with Donald Trump has destroyed my self-esteem, and it's made it to where I feel like it's destroyed part of my life. The only healthy relationship I've completely demolished, and I love to choose the dysfunctional ones that I know I can just push away. After what happened with him, I can't trust a man ever again. Thinking about it just makes me sick to my stomach. So when something so traumatic happens to someone that's so young, you never ever really get over it.